This is the Mini 3. You've heard all about it and all the features that this has packed inside, but can you actually use it on a commercial shoot? Can you make money with it? How does this go in the real estate world? This video is all about that. Stick around. We're going to put this little Mini to the test, and we've got Melbourne's best drone photographer on site with us at the moment. Please meet Emily Avery. We're going to ask you a couple of questions.
No worries.
This is also the first time that you've seen the Mini as well. So
yeah,
we're going to compare the Mavic 3 with the Mini 3 because the Mavic 3 is your weapon of choice.
It is, yeah.
And you haven't flown this before, have you?
Haven't seen it yet. Haven't seen it.
Wicked. So don't touch it. You can say it, but don't touch it. I'm going to get your real reaction, and we're going to get you up flying this thing and shoot the property behind us. So first, tell us about yourself, who you are, what you do.
So I've been in the drone industry now for 4 to 5 years. Started just selling prints and ended up in real estate. It's pretty much my full-time job now. So I run a drone operating business called Avery Aerial Photography. On an average day, 4 to 6 shoots. Sometimes that can go up to 8 in summer when we've got a little bit more light. What's
your go-to drone that you shoot on the daily for real estate work?
So it depends what I'm doing. If I'm doing photography, I'll go for the Mavic 2. It's a very reliable drone. I love the bracketing as well. It's always consistent, but because the Mavic 3's come out recently, I've started using that for dawn and dusk. It's got a little bit more capabilities with low light, and I use that now all for footage. So the Mavic 2's kind of been put on the shelf for any footage. It's just real estate photography now.
Real estate, the whole real estate space with drone photography it's a very lucrative space. There's a lot of people playing in it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you've seen real estate agents throw their drone up and get some shots, right?
We love that.
What's your biggest pain points in this industry, specifically drone photography for real estate?
I think the hardest thing about the industry is that people can get quite angry. Unfortunately, I've had a few incidents where I've had to call police to a couple of shoots. A few broken drones from angry neighbours as well. So within 4 to 5 years that I've been doing it, I've probably had four bad incidents, and other than that, you just get a few annoyed people.
So we are here to shoot this property here using the Mavic 3. So we'll get that up in a minute. We'll shoot that, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you this.
Yeah.
I'm going to do the same shoot again, and then later on we'll compare it.
Cool. Yeah, I'm really intrigued to see how it is and just the camera capabilities. I also want to see how quiet it is, because when you put the 3 and the 2 up, and if I use the Inspire 2, which I do a little bit, it's so loud and that just gets the neighbours pretty annoyed. So if this can be much quieter, then I might think about buying it for real estate, just off that. We'll see what happens.
We'll also compare the quality, which is very important.
Very important, very important.
All right, let's do it. Let's get into it.
Cool.
All right, so we just finished the shoot with the Mavic 3. This is your next mission.
Cool.
There you go.
I'll swap you.
There we go.
Thank you.
Questions?
It's obviously super light.
Yeah.
But that camera is tiny. If the quality is up to scratch with the 2 or the 3, this would be amazing. It'd change the real estate industry.
So I'm not going to tell you anything. You just got to try and work it out, all right?
So different folding. No antenna's built in. Oh, it's so quiet.
It's like a little toy, isn't it?
It's so, it's so quiet. So everything's identical to the 3, very different to the 2 because the 2 is still using GoFly.
So on your normal real estate shoot, what's your capture process like?
Yeah, I've definitely got a routine. So the first I do a bum shot, so directly down.
Straight down,
and I get that at different heights, and then portrait and landscape, depending if the agent wants to put a landscape board or a portrait board up.
And then the altitudes, you kind of get it all in the one frame, the property boundary?
Yeah. So you want to make sure, especially, so this is a dual entrance property, so it's got street at the front, street at the back. So you want to make sure that you can see both of those streets. as it's, so it's a selling point.
Yeah.
And then I essentially get to about 90 or 85 meters, depending how big the property is. And I do an orbit and I take photos at every point. So it'll be front, corner, side, corner, back, corner,
all
and so on.
Around.
All around.
And then
with horizon.
Yep.
So you see horizon, there might be things like city, beach, schools for points of interest.
Yep.
So always get those done first, especially if it's windy, because if something then goes wrong or if it's too windy to come back in, you're doing the last shots closer to the property.
Yeah, gotcha.
So whenever I shoot, that's how my process works. Then the next orbit is lower, angled down. So you're actually seeing the land of the property, but different spots.
Yep.
So you might get one at the back, one at the front. You can get sides and corners as well. And then I do a lower one with horizon as well.
Okay.
It takes usually 30 minutes. With the 3, you can get it done in one battery.
Yep.
This, I think you can probably get it done in one battery as well.
So we all know this shoots vertical photos, proper vertical, so the camera actually goes, yep, there we go.
Pretty cool.
Do you think that would be of any use for the real estate space?
I think it will become more popular. There are some agents, specific agents, that ask for all the photos in portrait. So usually that would mean that I have to, while I'm proofing, go back and crop. Crop. With this, it just takes it out of the equation. So
full pixels.
It saves me a lot of time and it keeps the quality as well.
All right, so we just finished the shot using with the Mini. We've done the Mavic 3 and the Mini 3. So just straight up, be honest. Like, what are your thoughts of this little one?
Actually pretty impressed. It handles really similar to the 3. Not a lot of wind today, but it was, totally fine. The battery lasts a long time. Did footage as well, really smooth movements. So if you need a social clip, I think it's totally fine to use.
Yeah.
Bracketing, still the same as the 3.
Yep.
So
RAWs,
portrait. It's just got so many options.
Yeah.
It's actually got more options than the 3. Daytime shoots, 100% could use it. Yep.
Another big pain point, well, for us as well, especially, and for you in Melbourne, there's so many airports, right?
Yep.
So how do you get around shooting near airports? Have you got a property like next to, I don't know, Melbourne Airport or something?
Yeah.
What do you do?
So before the Minis came out, you'd have to go through CASA and get clearance, and it's a minimum 8-week wait.
Yeah.
I think it's around $800. So they just cancel it and won't go ahead with the shoot.
Yeah.
Now that we've got something under 250 grams, legally you can fly it near the airports.
Almost like the ultimate real estate drone, isn't it?
Yeah, it's so versatile. I've been thinking about it for a while and I think I'll probably put an order in the next couple days. Right. It's reasonably priced for what the camera offers.
Yeah.
Like
especially with all the features that it's got.
The features are amazing. It handles well. It'll help my commercial work, especially the residential real estate stuff.
Sure. All right, so Emily's just headed off to another shoot, but you and I, are going to head back to the office and we're going to compare the Mavic 3 with the Mini 3 and compare the quality. Let's go. All right, guys, welcome back. So before we set up the studio and everything, we spent about 30 minutes comparing the video footage and the images taken from the Mini versus the Mavic. And so far, I'm very impressed. I must say, we did find some little differences here and there. That's just because we've been doing it for a long time and pixel peeping, getting down real close, we were able to tell. But I think someone that isn't trained in this space, I think you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. This produced some really good images and video. So just quickly, we'll go through some basic high level stuff around the images and also the video part, and then we'll give you a couple of tips at the end and give you our final thoughts. So Paul, tell me a little bit about the images and the video and the stills first.
Right, so of course this has a 12 megapixel camera and that's the Mini 3, and we're comparing it to the Mavic 3, which has a 20 megapixel camera. Of course, comparing that like for like, it was a lot easier to tell the differences. However, this drone has a superpower where it can take 48 megapixel RAW images, not JPEG. It's not like it's a stitch and it's a JPEG. It's 48 megapixels raw, which is huge. And comparing that to the Mavic 3's 20 megapixel camera, a lot harder to spot. It's using something called quad bayer technology. I'm not going to go into that because it's actually, frankly, I don't know how it works. But that is a huge plus for this drone. And apart from that, you're still getting all the other things that DJI have packed into its photo modes. Panoramas, AEB, shooting, hyperlapse, and of course can now shoot natively in portrait mode, which your real estate agents will love for all their social reels. This also has another superpower in that, thanks to a firmware update, this can now shoot 10-bit RAW in the cine-like color profile.
But it has to be in that profile.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Make sure you switch it to that particular color profile, otherwise you're just going to get the standard 8-bit.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so it has a normal color mode and the cine-like color mode, and that's the color profile that has the 10-bit color, which for grading, I mean, it gives you so much more information in the file to actually, draw down the highlights and, just really tweak it and help you not get some banding that you sometimes get when you're putting over LUTs, and if it hasn't been exposed correctly, that is a huge plus for a drone of this size.
The other small drawback with the Mini 3 is the aperture is locked at 1.7. So if you really want to slow that shutter speed down, or if you're shooting in bright scenarios or scenes, make sure you get some filters. Yeah,
that's right. And also you might want to fly this indoors. Some real estate agents want you to do a fly through as well. We recently shot this indoors, and not just the omnidirectional sensoring that it now has, you just feel so confident flying this. But also with that 1.7 aperture, I noticed that I did see some sort of, you got that depth of field in some of the shots.
The bokeh.
And at 1.7, you can get quite shallow. You need to have the subject quite close to the lens, but it is something also to look out for. Of course, you got the 4K 10-bit color. However, we did notice that the footage also has the slight over sharpening that does come with the DJI drones, and currently in the Fly app, it doesn't seem like, in the Mavic 2 at least, you had sort of the custom settings for the sharpening, saturation,
and contrast.
Yep. Thank you. But it doesn't have any options there. But look, if they can add 10-bit color to this with a firmware update, I don't see why they can't add that. But look, it's nothing that you can't unsharpen in post-production, so it's not a deal breaker. But overall, I think for the price and capabilities, this drone is a must-have if you're getting into real estate, or if you're already in real estate. Look, you've got over 30-minute flight time. It's significantly quieter than any other drone on the market. It also sounds nicer as well, I think.
It does.
It's sub 250s, so you can get closer to airports while flying responsibly. You've got front, rear, and back. You've got front, rear, and back sensors. 4K 50 10-bit color, hyperlapse, spotlight tracking. You've got the native portrait mode, which real estate agents will love for their social feeds. The 48 megapixel camera, AEB bracketing. Look, this thing's going to be flying off the shelves, so grab it when you can if you see it in stores, is my tip.
Okay, so some quick tips. Always shoot on the 48 megapixel mode. Number 2, D-Cine-like. So if you're shooting video, make sure you switch that across to D-Cine-like so you get the full 10-bit. And number 3, make sure you get yourself some set of filters because your aperture is locked at 1.7. All right, that's it. I hope you enjoyed that video. Don't forget to check out our Masterclass Academy for all things drone real estate related. Links below. I hope you enjoyed it. See you guys in the next one.